Well, hey, everybody, what is up? I am Dan Navarra, and I'm one of the guys who leads men's ministry at Monte Vista. Welcome to the Happy Hour. This is episode 2, and I am being joined today over Zoom, social distancing, you know how that goes, by my good friend and former Monte Vista Chapel attender, Dave Dravecky. Dave, say what's up.
Hey, how you guys doing? It's good to see you, unfortunately, through technology and not face-to-face, but it is what it is, so we live with it.
Yeah, I think we talked last week on the episode about how we're just missing everybody right now. What is that? We got our happy place mug.
I got my happy place mug, and I am actually in my happy place right now, Dan. Having a little water, nice, nourishing fluid for the body, and just living out of my happy place as best I can.
Well, I have a tropical cherry sparkling water, and so I'm going to crack that open. Hey.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Look at these clear beverages. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man. I love it.
And Dave Dravecky, you are a former San Francisco Giant. We're all missing baseball season right now, but don't worry. I got my Matt Cain jersey. So I'm going to throw that on for the broadcast because, you know, we got to rally Cain right now, right? We got to rally Cain.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So I'm going to go ahead and button this on. Dude, we just start every episode with a check-in. How are you doing? Are you working? Like, how's your family? Just let us know how Dave Dravecky's doing.
Dave is doing actually really good. Am I working? That's a very interesting question in these times. I've had up to this point through April, all of my speaking appearances canceled. So unfortunately, I will not be doing any traveling to speak and to encourage others.
Tell us what you do. So just not everybody who sees this will know who you are or what you do. So just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, as a result of battling with cancer and being a Major League Baseball player and going through that during my time as a ball player, I've had the opportunity now over the past 28 years or 30 years now to travel the country, sharing motivational, inspirational stuff with families all over the country. And so that has come to a screeching halt. Fortunately, the majority of those events are going to bring me back when this lifts. So I'm encouraged by that. I also work as a community ambassador for the Giants. Over the past 10 years, 11 years now, they have used me as an ambassador. And unfortunately, Dan, with baseball shut down, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with all of that because obviously there aren't any opportunities to do things for the Giants since I do most of my work with the fan base. So that's been a very difficult period of time for us. And then we have Endurance, our ministry, and that actually is going really well. Although we talked to Connie, our assistant in Colorado, and she said that for the first time, there have been absolutely no requests whatsoever for our encouragement gift packages.
No kidding.
And so literally everything has stopped. And so Jan and I are sitting here, and you know, the last 10 years of my life, I have been going through a very significant transformation. You know, those seasonal times in life where you are being transformed into that masterpiece that God's creating over a lifetime.
Yeah, love that.
And you know, this is one of those seasons where we actually get to rest in that, which is, think about it, a gift, an amazing gift. Now, whether or not we can survive the length of it financially is another question. You may be asking me to talk with you again, you know, in the next 6 months or so, and I may be in Arizona. God only knows. But you know what? I got to tell you, Dan, we're living out of this. We are really living out of that place, trusting God with all of this, man. So, you know, that's kind of where Dave and Jan are at. That's where I'm at with my work. I can't change the circumstances. So what I can do is enjoy his presence in those circumstances.
Man, that is such a good takeaway already. We're like 2 minutes into the show, and that is a great takeaway. I can't change the circumstances, but I can enjoy him in the circumstances. Man, oh man. Um, so I thought I would ask you about is disruption. I mean, you were a professional athlete back in the 80s, and you work with professional athletes. You're around those guys all the time. And I think for us normal people who don't get to spend time with the celebrity athlete folks, there's kind of this wonderment about them. And, you know, they're just hanging out in their big houses or something like that while we are trying to figure out how to get groceries. And I don't know if that's true or false or anything like that, but I know that athletes are creatures of habit. And actually, at our root, all of us are. We like consistency, we like control, we like our schedules. And I imagine the athletes that you're friends with are facing tremendous disruption right now into their rhythms. It was supposed to be spring training a couple weeks ago, and the season was supposed to start, and that means the ballpark has a rhythm. Every day is baseball, as Marty Lurie likes to say. And you get to see the mosaic come to light. And right now, there's no painting on the mosaic. And so tell me about how you deal with disruption, how an athlete might deal with disruption, and give us some best practices.
Well, I have to tell you that one of the things that I'm learning um, is to love the moment, to stay fully engaged in the moment. There would have been a time in my life, Dan, where the disruption would have created some tremendous anxiety. And I'm sure for the athletes today, right now, especially the young players who are still under the ownership of the ballpark, the ball club, that don't have those multi-year, multi-million-dollar contracts or haven't been in the league for a while, they're struggling to figure out and wonder what's going to happen next, and dreams and all those things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did during that period of time that I guess I've learned to adopt as I live now in this time is that I kept the main thing, and I kept my focus on what I could focus on. And at that point in time, my focus was to heal from the cancer. And so I did everything that I was capable of doing, along with the help of others, to actually heal. And there's a valuable message in that. I couldn't heal on my own. I needed others around me to support me in this process of healing. After hearing the disappointment,
I'm writing that down. That's good.
Of the disappointment of, you have cancer, and outside of a miracle, you'll never pitch again. So instead of being distracted by that, I leaned into that place with God, and I leaned into that place with the doctors, the medical support team, my family, and my friends, and the organization of the Giants to actually help me on this path to try and make the comeback. So present day, what that does for me, that's that's basically what I'm doing. I'm actually, I can't change the circumstances around me. There's been major disruption in our lives. We just moved into a new building in San Francisco on my birthday, February 14th.
Happy birthday and Valentine's Day all in one.
Thank you. And so I'm actually in this place where all of a sudden I've got this incredible disruption that happens. We move into a brand new building, and being in that building, we're trying to survive this thing and figure out what we do. And what's been beautiful about it, I guess, Dan, is that Jan and I, and the beauty of this is that we're in this together. And we both have just decided, look, we can't do anything about this. So let's just lean into it. We've got time with God. We've got time with each other. The people that we can communicate with over the phone, all those things. If we can now contact them through Zoom, which is a beautiful, gosh, I wish I would have invested in Zoom 6 months ago.
I said Mazda really messed up when they let the trademark for Zoom go away, right? Hey, I don't know if your cell phone is right next to your computer or not, and it keeps going off with a message, but it's dinging and
No,
it's
it's not.
loud.
It's my computer.
It's your.
It's
Oh
my
well,
it's
then we'll just.
dinging in my computer. I got to tell these guys to stop doing. How do I get it to stop?
You can maybe close the app on your actual computer. I don't know, man.
I
It's
don't
just a
even know how
casual.
to do that.
Yeah, well, it's a casual conversation. Who cares?
Well,
Um,
what I'm gonna try and do is get them to stop their texting because it's interrupting in my interview.
yeah.
Please stop for a while. How cool is this? We're just acting normal, normal life stuff.
That's the best part of this. It's not professional. It's just is what it is, man. Uh,
Yeah.
it, it's interesting. Ken put a video up on our church Facebook list last week, and one of the things that it had in it, like a best practice you could do right now, was to actually pick up the phone and call somebody rather than doing social media only, but actually to like people don't call anymore, like even you and me setting up this meeting, we were swapping emails and text messages, and I should have just picked up the phone and called you and heard your voice and said hello. And yeah, anyway, we're all learning how to do this real time. I say we're building an airplane in the air, so there you go.
Hopefully that works.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. um I want to go back just real quick as we're wrapping up this piece on disruption. Um, and not everybody knows the full Dave Dravecky, comeback story, so to speak. But you probably experienced some pretty hard lows in that moment, and I'm sure you've had them throughout your life anyway. But that one specifically, I know I've read your book and things like that. Can you just like people are dealing right now? I think with and especially guys, we're dealing with we're working from home now, which means you've taken away part of our identity if we go to work every day and things like that. When you hit those walls where you can't be who you were yesterday, like how did you navigate that with God? I know you followed Christ, when you went through that journey. Like, yeah, how did you navigate that?
I didn't navigate it very well. It was really
Cheers.
hard. So yeah, so I can actually relate to the whole idea that when disruption comes into your world, it is a very difficult adjustment. Uh, you know, I can tell you that I've learned some valuable lessons by going through that disruption and actually falling on my face many times.
Mm,
And I've actually learned to incorporate those lessons today that I learned back then through my failure.
yeah.
And so that failure, these guys are, it's my family that's doing this texting and causing all this noise. And now they're giving it to me because I've asked them to be, it's crazy. So I
That
have
happens
to
when we
tell you,
preach sometimes. Somebody will start text messaging us on our phones in our pocket while we're preaching. And it's like, come on, people. People do it from the pews. I'm
oh,
like, you're blowing up my phone. I get it. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. So I actually think that what I'm realizing in these moments of disruption is what I missed was actually realizing that there were people around me now that I had no choice in being with,
Mm,
and that was my family.
preach.
And so, why would that be a disruption to me?
Mm,
You know, so instead of this disruption having an impact and entering into my comfort zone that allows me to do what I do because I go away from my family and I work all day and I have that space and it's my space. And now I'm sharing my space with other people. Um, Maybe pause to actually look at what your wife is doing and how
yeah.
hard she's working to make everything work when there's kids in the house running around like crazy
Oh, that's
and
the
they're
gospel in my
supposed to
house
be
right
in
now.
school. They're supposed to be in school and they're not.
No.
And you've got to help them with their work. And I mean, all of a sudden life changes dramatically. And instead of seeing it maybe as a disruption, see it as a way of God giving us an opportunity to enter into something that we've really needed to enter into all along
Yeah.
and
Being
appreciating
present.
one another. affirming your wife in all that she does, because now you get to watch it, you get to see it. And that affirmation builds on your relationship. Stepping
Huh.
in and pausing the computer for a moment and actually going and spending time with the kids with their work. I mean, I've
Yeah.
watched my son and I've watched my daughter actually engaging with their families in ways. When we were down, we were locked in with them for 2 weeks. And I watched my son and daughter-in-law are literally running their business out of their home. And they've got two boys, 11 and 9, that are in school. Well, how do you navigate that? I
You
was
don't.
blown, I know, but I was blown away with the effort that they put into navigating that. They
That's
didn't
cool.
do it perfect. They had struggles. We stepped in and helped. I was so grateful we were there.
Yeah.
But it made me, and get to observe. I saw and bustle. And
Yeah.
my greatest prayer is that we don't miss what we experienced in the disruption of our lives that was beautiful. I've got to tell you, I shared with you before we went into this conversation that Francis Chan gave this incredible: don't lose love, don't lose joy, and don't lose your peace.
Huh.
You're not. And when I read those, I thought, oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible. Forget about what's going on around me, because I've got this opportunity to experience that. I may have to talk to my family and say, I need this block of time where I'm able to work, but I'm going to engage at a different level because now I'm home. And at that level, I don't want to lose my love for my family. I don't want to lose my joy, and I don't want to lose my peace. And we all know where that comes from.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
drawn towards Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your heart, since as members of one body you were called to peace. And then the next phrase is, and then be thankful. It's like thankfulness, like having an attitude of gratitude actually is a linchpin that helps me hold my peace. And but like being thankful in the midst of a global pandemic just feels they feel like they can't be in partnership with each other, but actually that's part of the cure. I really think it is, like
Yes,
being thankful
absolutely.
for those opportunities in front of you.
Yeah. I mean,
Good.
when you think about the beauty of what disappointment like this brings, because it literally forces us to be together.
Yeah.
Well, in my disappointment, I can be thankful that I'm with my wife. The
For all the
sad
guys
part,
out, for all the guys out there, hear that, hear that.
yeah,
The
because
wives are
they don't.
the,
Amen.
the wives are
Yes,
saying amen. The wives are saying amen. Dave,
yes. And
leave
what
me.
made me go ahead.
We always wrap up these conversations with just what is God encouraging you with, or teaching you with, or challenging you with. Give me something, a parting challenge or encouragement that has been resonating with you that you haven't already said. You've shared so much great stuff with us, and appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to share with you some quotes that I wrote down from my pastor here in San Francisco. Um, there was a message that he delivered, and hopefully I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. There are two quotes I want to leave you with that he shared as we find ourselves pretty much locked in, sheltering in place. I
Yeah.
love that phrase. We're sheltering in place, and there's disruption in our world. And Charles Spurgeon says this: I have learned to kiss the waves that throw me against the rock of ages.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I've learned to kiss the waves that throw me against the rock of ages.
Come on.
These waves right now that are so disruptive, if we could only pause long enough to see it in light of being thrown into the rock of ages,
Wow.
I think we would experience peace and be able to express that love and joy to those around us much easier as a result of that.
Mm.
The other quote that he shared was from Corrie ten Boom, and
Okay.
she said this: if you look at the world, you will be distressed. If you look within, you'll be depressed. But if you look at God, you'll be at rest.
Well, wow, that rhymes too. Wow. Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
If you look at the world, you'll be distressed.
Yeah.
If you look
Amen.
within, you'll be depressed.
Mm.
If you look at God, you'll be at rest.
What a blessing.
If anybody could say that with passion, it
Yeah.
was Corey Boone, because she lived it.
Yeah.
She lived in the midst of severe, distressed circumstances
Mm-hmm.
where people could get extremely depressed because they were focused on looking in. But she saw the power of looking to God, and in that she found rest.
Wow.
That's where we find rest. When we're distressed, that's where we find rest in the midst of disruption, when we lean into God, Dan.
Yeah. What a takeaway. I found myself picking up my guitar, playing my piano way more in the last month, using worship as my way of looking towards God. Like, it's become a weapon for me against this thing. Like, I think I even said it on last week's episode, like, that has become part of my rhythm of singing with my family and singing with my kids and singing over them also. So I resonate with that a ton. Dave, my drink is gone. Thank you so much for joining us and for being a part of the happy hour in your happy place. Brother, we love you. Brother. We love you. We miss you, man. Go Giants whenever they get going again, huh?
Yeah, you got it. Let's do this again.
Would love to. Cheers, man.
Cheers.